And before you try to satisfy her, ask yourself this. Imagine you're in a dimly lit room with her. She's close. She's warm. You think this is it. You lean in. You touch. You try. But deep down, something feels off. She's there, but not really there. She's physically present, but emotionally distant. You give her what you think she wants, but not what she truly craves. See, most men fail here, not because they lack effort, but because they never learned this simple truth. The female body responds to touch, but the female soul responds to depth. This video isn't about tricks or tactics. It's about understanding what truly makes a woman surrender, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Because the men who get her soul don't chase her, they move in silence, with power, with presence. Let's break it down. Part 1. Emotional security without neediness. That's 52-315. She doesn't want you obsessed. She wants you centered. A high-value woman doesn't want a man who's emotionally dependent. She doesn't want the guy who texts 14 times a day, who gets triggered by her silence, who constantly needs to know, do you still like me? What she truly craves is emotional stability. That unshakable core, a man who doesn't lose his cool when she's upset, a man who holds space without judgment. Because women are emotionally complex by nature, they ride waves of feelings, mood swings, doubts, vulnerabilities. And when they meet a man who doesn't get pulled into their storm, they feel safe, not because he's controlling her, but because he's controlling himself. This safety, this grounded masculine energy, is sexier than abs, more intoxicating than money, and longer lasting than words. So remember, don't be the man who drowns in her emotion. Be the one she runs to when she's drowning. Part 2. Silent presence. 315-602. Your silence speaks, and she listens with her soul. You know what most men fear? Stillness. They feel they have to talk their way into a woman's heart. Tell jokes, impress, keep her entertained. But a woman's deepest attraction is not built in noise. It's built in silence, in how you breathe, how you hold eye contact, how you sit in a room without fidgeting. She notices these things. When a man is totally present, not on his phone, not in his head, she feels it. Your presence becomes a blanket around her. Safe, strong, calm. That's rare. And what's rare is seductive. It's not about what to say to her. It's about being the kind of man who doesn't need to say anything at all, because your energy already does the talking. The Stoic man doesn't fill space with noise. He fills it with gravity. Part 3. Subtle leadership. 62839. Don't ask her what she wants. Show her what she needs. Women don't want a dictator, but they don't want a passive man either. They want a leader, quiet, subtle, confident. Leadership doesn't mean being loud. It means making decisions, choosing where to eat, taking the lead in conversation, owning your opinions. This shows directional energy, and that energy makes her relax, because in your certainty, she finds relief from decision-making. That's feminine surrender. But here's the mistake many men make. They either dominate aggressively or hesitate endlessly. Subtle leadership is balanced. It's in your tone, your calmness, your certainty. She may act like she wants control, but deep inside she longs to trust your guidance. The key? Don't control her. Control the frame. Lead with quiet confidence, not loud commands. Part 4. Non-validation energy. 839-1110. If she has to ask for your approval, she'll stop respecting it. Most men make the mistake of giving too much praise. You're so beautiful. You're the most amazing woman I've ever met. I can't believe you even talked to me. Sounds sweet, right? But to a high-value woman, this smells like validation seeking. What she actually desires is to earn your approval, not be handed compliments like participation trophies. Here's what happens when you constantly validate her. She begins to question your worth, because a woman subconsciously thinks, if he sees me as everything, how many other women has he said this to? A man who doesn't need to validate is a man who values himself. You don't need to be cold. You just need to be measured. Give praise when it's earned, not just when it's convenient. That's how kings speak. Part 5. Erotic intelligence. She needs a man who doesn't just touch her body, but reads it. Most men are obsessed with performance, technique, duration, frequency. But what women crave is sensitivity, not just physically, but psychologically. Erotic intelligence means you notice the change in her breath. You pick up the shift in her energy. You understand her nonverbal cues better than her own words. It's not about being rough or soft. It's about attunement. This is what separates average intimacy from sacred intimacy. The man who touches with presence, not rush. with curiosity, not ego, is the man whose touch she remembers even years later. Technique fades, but energy leaves fingerprints on her soul. Part 6, Deep Eye Contact. 4-3, she'll never forget the man who looked into her. Not at her. In a world flooded with attention, she's used to being looked at. What she craves is being seen. The eyes are portals. And when you lock eyes with her, calmly, confidently, without fear, you tell her something no words can. I see you. Not just the surface. All of you. Here's the magic. Most men break eye contact too soon, or look down when she looks up, or fidget when it gets intense. But the man who doesn't flinch, the one who lets silence stretch through that eye contact, makes her feel naked without touching her. And it's not about dominance. It's about being witness to her truth, without judgment. Once a woman experiences that, it's nearly impossible for her to forget it. Part 7, Control Your Frequency. 16:30-18:42. The more available you are, the less desirable you become. The easiest way to destroy attraction? Overexposure. If she knows you'll text back in 2 seconds, if she knows you'll cancel your plans to see her, if she can predict every one of your moves, she gets bored. Women are not drawn to chaos, but they're seduced by mystery. You don't need to play games. Just have a life, a mission, boundaries. When you respond less, you become more. When you're not always there, she thinks about where you are. And that wondering, that curiosity, creates pull. You train people how to value your time by how freely you give it away. Be intentional with your presence, and she'll crave the moments she gets it. Part 8, Speak Less, Mean More. 18:42-21:0. Your words are bullets. Don't shoot them all at once. Ever heard a man talk himself out of attraction? That's what happens when you overshare, when you explain everything, when you narrate every move. But the Stoic man, he speaks only when he has something measured to say. He doesn't try to impress. He doesn't reveal every emotion. He lets her lean in. There's nothing more magnetic than a man who keeps some parts hidden, not because he's lying, but because he's disciplined with his energy. Women are emotional detectives. If she senses that you're holding something worth discovering, she'll chase it. So say less, mean it more. The man of few words is usually the one who's most deeply heard. Part 9, The Power of Restraint. What you don't do often says more than what you do. In a world where most men act out of impulse, texting late at night, oversharing feelings too early, chasing the moment they feel attraction, restraint becomes magnetic. A man who can pause, who can hold his desire like a sword still in its sheath, creates tension, and tension isn't the enemy. It's the engine of attraction. When a woman feels that you want her, but don't need her, she becomes intrigued. She'll wonder what it is that gives you that power. She'll crave to know why you're so grounded. Desire without desperation is a deadly form of charm. The man who restrains himself isn't cold, he's in control. And that control doesn't push her away, it pulls her in. Part 10, Make Her Earn Your Presence. 23:30-26:15. Your presence is the reward, not her body. Most men make the mistake of believing that access to her is the prize. But high-value men understand. Access to you is the true privilege. When you treat your time, your energy, and your emotional availability like currency, she'll treat them with respect. This doesn't mean you act arrogant. It means you understand your worth. The moment she realizes you're not like other men, that you don't fall into orbit just because she's attractive, that you demand depth, intent, and loyalty, she'll adjust. She'll lean in more. She'll try harder. She'll respect deeper, because you didn't sell yourself cheap. You made her earn the experience of being with you. A king never begs for loyalty. He builds a kingdom so powerful, they beg to be part of it. Final words. 26:15-28:0. So now you know. It's not looks. It's not money. It's not even smooth talk. What truly captivates a woman is your presence, your energy, your self-respect, your ability to be silent, grounded, and unmoved by temptation. These 10 behaviors aren't tricks. They're not manipulation. They are the habits of a man who leads himself first. And that's the man she can't forget. That's the man she dreams about at night. That's the man she tells her friends. He's different, so don't become the man who constantly chases. Become the man who simply stands still and pulls the world toward him.